Welcome back to our CCTV's News Bulletin. This is how our conference officially started on Monday. Today's headlines are the Q&A on China, the welcome reception of ChemCon Asia 2015 and an interview on how to involve your stakeholders. But first we start with a selection of the questions and answers from our Q&A on China.
The actual processing of the notifications under the existing guidance has really picked up pace in recent years, and also that the expected changes in the guidance are really just kind of tweaks and there's not too much change. So can companies take some comfort from that and thinking that actually the process is now kind of working and it's being refined by the guidance?
Here, the point I think worth giving is that yes, there will be some changes with the guidance that comes into force. Are these changes going to be major in terms of, for example, cutting in half the amount of time or cost that you need? Very unlikely. But there will be some specific cases where there could be a significant change in the registration studies that are needed for a particular substance. So on that particular issue, you've got to look very closely as soon as the guidance comes out as to what the exact criteria are and whether you potentially fall under it. And those are then the criteria that you need to really explore further with the authorities.
It's time to talk to our local reporter, Mr. B, to learn more about the welcome reception. Mr. B, where are you today? Mr. B? Mr. B, where are you today? I'm on my way up. I'm on the longest escalator system of the world, called the Central Mid-Level Escalator System. Please watch my coverage of the welcome reception. The welcome reception was at the Hong Kong Maritime Museum, located at the picturesque Victoria Harbour on Pier 8, a former Star Ferry pier. The museum is a vibrant cultural institution displaying objects that tell the story about trade and maritime in Hong Kong and the Pearl River Delta. The Hong Kong Maritime Museum promotes Hong Kong, China and Asia's maritime history and heritage, as well as the vital role that ships and the sea play in our past, present and future. During the evening, delegates had the opportunity to take networking to a new height. Thank you, Mr. B. Great impression of the event. Enjoy the escalator and let us know when you're at the top. Which brings me to our interview on top management. Today's interview is about how to involve your top management in relation to the business impact of key regulations. What better way than to discuss this with two top managers from compliance-driven companies, Crane G and Mark Hurwig. Crane, from your point of view, who are the stakeholders that should be engaged?
Yeah, of course, first should be the regular affair team. Actually, they got the information, and then definitely the high management team. They need to consider the impact and they need to analyze. And also, they will involve the other teams like the commercial, like the purchasing, like the other department. I think maybe mostly like the marketing team. And like this kind of supporting team, even the customer service group.
And the receivers of these messages, do they prefer black and white or more detailed?
My experience is, especially when we're talking about management level communications, that the simpler the better, because legalese and compliance language not necessarily the best way to communicate to management on sort of what's at hand for the moment.
Crane, many companies, they talk about corporate responsibility. What is currently your expectation of the majority of companies?
I have to say that in Huntsman, we really look at this kind of compliance things in a very high level, or maybe like you said, the high class of this situation. Actually, the value from Huntsman is much more look at in the ethics and the compliance situation.
Anything to add on this?
Running a company or running business, particularly in the spaces that we work, where we're making products for a benefit or a value to society, we of course always want those to be top of class.
Another high-level issue is the negotiation between the United States and the EU on trade, TTIP, which I will discuss today with Julius Waller of EPPA. Julius, welcome.
Hi, Chert.
Julius, TTIP in Europe at least is connected with a lot of concerns for consumers. For instance, they don't want to eat the US oranges, which have the non-EU approved pesticide residues in it. They think that the legislation will change. Should they be afraid of that?
Chert, they shouldn't be afraid of that. There will be a form of regulatory convergence which will benefit all of us, consumers and industry. And it's worth the investment. The debate at the moment is very, very emotional in terms of these oranges, or you mentioned to me separately chlorinated chickens.
Yeah.
But this is not the aim of TTIP. The aim of TTIP is for the developed world to set some global trade standards that will be applicable in future. And do we prefer us with the United States to do that, or shall we wait for China and India?
Okay, and do you have an interesting statement around TTIP?
My statement will be the cost of regulatory divergence is higher than the cost of a mutual investment in coordinated policymaking.
As explained yesterday, also you can share your opinion on this statement by using our ChemConnect app. Julius, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your support of ChemCon, and I would like to invite you for Wednesday night social event to also support our local WWF Hong Kong, because we are aiming to raise funds for them because they do a very good job at the Maipo Wetland Nature Reserve, for which we made a short documentary in order to encourage you to personally support them in their work. Today I have the privilege to be in Maipo Nature Reserve, a very diverse wetland here in Hong Kong. Please join us today in the exploration of this park together with Catherine Lung, Senior Reserve Officer at WWF Hong Kong. Catherine, can you explain in a nutshell what wetlands are and why they are so important for our global ecosystem?
Yeah, wetland is actually where the water meets the land. So these wetlands are sometimes called the kidney for the earth because they help the water system and filtering the pollutants from the water. So they're very, very important, and they are also provide a lot of resources for human beings.
Maipo comprises of several types of wetlands. Can you tell us more about them?
So start from the coastal side is the mudflat, where we call it the dining table for the migratory water birds. And then come back to the landward side is the mangroves, special types of trees which can adapt to the wetland area. And then further back to the landward side, you can find reedbed, which are a very ecological habitat because you can find over 400 species of insects.
What is your favorite bird?
It's very hard to pick my favorite bird. So, but for Maipo, I think the most fascinating birds here must be the migratory shorebirds, which include a lot of species. Around springtime, you can find over 30 species in a day. So each year during spring, they migrate from the wintering ground in the south, including like Australia and Southeast Asia, back to Maipo, dressing in their beautiful breeding plumage. So they comes in various shapes, size, and bill shape. So they actually feed on different types of food on the mudflat. So, and they migrate long distance every year, which I think is really, really magical.
Fantastic footage! I see you almost reached the top of the escalators. Yes, at the top. How come I was not allowed to make that local report? I was inspired by your nice local reports, and the first president and founder of WWF was His Royal Highness Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, the grandfather of our current king, who also on his own account has been very actively involved in global water management. But enough about the Netherlands for now. Indeed, it's all about the great local work of WWF Hong Kong. Can I also donate? Of course, everybody can help. There will be a donation box at our registration desk, and everybody is encouraged to take their Hong Kong dollars to our Wednesday night social event. And now it's time for today's forecast. I'm specially wearing a purple tie today, since this morning we focus on the implementation of the Purple Book, the Global Harmonized System. In the afternoon, we go to Canada, TSCA reform in the United States, TTIP, and supply chain communication. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day.